Welcome to this week's Todd Talks video, and we're going to discuss home equity and how you can use it and how you can use it to have a better cash flow situation in your life currently. So I want to give you a couple facts. I'm going to start out with a few things here. So let me dive right in. I want to show you where home equity is at and what's happened. So the average homeowner has over $300,000 of equity in their home. And if you bought in the last 2 years, that might not be the case. But most, if in the last 5 years, you probably do. And look at here's why. National average change in home prices from 5 years starting, taking 5 years back, ending in this last November or Q3 of 2024 was 54% with Texas at 50.7. So that's a 50% gain in equity. And so if you've owned your home for a little while, and I'm really talking to the people in this video, like they've owned their home probably more than 2 years, and you have a 4 or 3 or a 2 as an interest rate, you have a tremendous amount of equity. And what's also happened is, if you look, let me minimize this and go down, people are staying in their homes longer. It used to be from 85 to 2008, the average tenure was 6 years. Now it's 9.2. So we have a situation where you stay in your home longer, you have equity, but what do you do with it? So one of the other things is that consumer debt's at the higher level. You might have credit cards that have accumulated. I mean, let's face it, we've been through 4 years of high cost and high inflation. The average consumer our savings rate in this country is at the lowest rate it's been at 4 years. And people have tapped into their credit cards, and credit cards are at the highest limit, along with installment debt. If you've bought cars recently, you bought them at a much higher interest rate, you might have student loan debt. And so you could theoretically restructure your home loan and use the equity to refinance and pay that debt off, but no one wants to do that because of the interest rate. So I want to introduce a concept to you that I always like to show borrowers, and I want to read to you what a balance sheet is. So I just went and just did a quick AI review. A balance sheet is a financial statement that summarizes an organization, or in this case, an individual's assets, liabilities, and equity or net worth at a specific point in time. Assets include what it owns. So what you own is cash, inventory, and buildings. Houses. Let's switch it to an individual. So houses is an asset column. Liability is what you owe. Okay. And so what ends up happening to most of you, and I've done this too. I don't do this anymore because I'm in the financial services sector for so long that my mindset has shifted. But what you do and what everybody does is say, my house is over here and that liability is over here. I don't want anything to do to affect that lower interest rate. The problem is that the average interest rate in your credit card debt is probably well into the 20%. And so if you were to take all that other debt and what you're paying, if you're paying minimum payments, you have cash flow going out the window. It's not reducing the liability and therefore not building your net worth whatsoever. Where on the flip side is your house will continue to go up in value, and so you will continue to gain equity there, but you have a poor cash flow position. So what I've done with a lot of clients, and what is at least worth looking at and considering, if you have equity and you have a debt situation, is there a way to restructure it? So let's say right now interest rates are in the mid 6s to 7% range, and you're at say a 3%. But you have $100,000 of other debt, and the average interest rates on that is 15 or 16%. When you combine that all together, the blended rate's probably going to come down into an effective interest rate in the 5 somewhere. And if it gives you a significant cash flow boost, let's say, for example, you suddenly have an extra $5, 6, 7, $800,000 per month in your budget. That money can then be used, number one, to rebuild your emergency reserve, and then number two, you could either do a Roth IRA or start paying down the principal of the house and rebuilding that equity. There's 2 ways to get the equity: a cash out refinance or a second home loan. Both have benefits and disadvantages. On a cash out refinance on the first, you can do that, and then after 1 year, you're allowed to, if rates drop, you're allowed to refinance it into a non-cash out or a rate and term refinance. If you do a home equity line of credit, then that's great, but you can only have one cash out on your property at a time, either a first or a second. So if you do a home equity line of credit or home equity loan, that's fine. But later on, if you wanted to refinance it, we'd have to only refinance the second. You sort of get stuck with that, or there's a way to combine them both, but as another cash out on the first. So sometimes, depending on the amount of debt, it's okay to let go of that small interest rate if the benefits you're getting is a much better balance sheet, because what happens is the liabilities transfers from your liability. In other words, your liabilities transfers from a bunch of these other accounts into just one in the housing account. Your net worth initially stays the same on your balance sheet, but your cash flow significantly improves and your actual overall interest rate improves. So if that makes sense and you'd like to talk more about that, I actually do detailed total cost analysis for my client, where I can plug in your current mortgage, and then we plug in your current debt, and then we look at what it would look like if we restructured it and what kind of new rate you would have. And in many cases, it actually absolutely makes sense. So I hope you find that helpful. Hope you have a great day. And please feel comfortable if you have family or friends looking to buy or sell real estate and need help with their real estate and their finances, please feel comfortable having them reach out to me. And also, I really would appreciate if you reach out to me and give me their name, cell, and email. I'll reach out. I won't try to sell them anything. I'll just reach out, make sure I take great care of them for you. So thanks so much. Have a great day.